Well, hello. It's me, Nancy Today. I've asked Willem if he will give us our closing prayer.
And I said if you could do it.
Oh, what? I always
Let the
do it.
truth be known.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's all. I'll say the prayer. Okay? Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for blessing us that we've come to the end of another day and that we're still in a good, happy mood. We're so grateful for all the blessings that we've had today, that we've been able to go to the temple and back, and that other people, of course, have been doing whatever they've been doing. And we're so grateful that we've all been kept safe. And those that haven't, we pray that they will be able to cope with their situation. And we are so grateful for the beautiful weather and this lovely planet we live on. And we're grateful for thy tender mercies, for knowing us, and for loving us no matter who we are and what we are and how we're doing. And we're grateful that thou dost love us and that thou art always there. I'm grateful for all the prayers that thou dost answer, spoken and unspoken. I'm grateful for the promptings that keep us from danger and difficulty. I'm grateful for the angels that thou sends to protect us when we're driving. I'm grateful for all our blessings and many blessings that we don't know about or don't think about thanking you for. And as we go to sleep, we ask that thou will bless us, that we'll have dreams that are uplifting and that are helpful for our growth. We ask thee to keep us all safe. Please bless those people that don't have a good place to sleep. And bless them that they might feel thy love. And bless all of those people that, for whatever reason, have many problems. Bless them that they may find peace in thee. And thank you so much for blessing us with the Savior and with forgiveness and with such wonderful hope. And we're so grateful we don't have to carry around all our sins, our guilty stuff. We're grateful that we can let go of it and that we can instead be filled with joy. And bless us all with answers to our prayers. And bless us that we may realize our hopes and dreams. And that we may find joy in thee. And we pray for our families and ask you to watch over all of the people in our families, that they will be safe and that they will only have the trials that are necessary for them to grow in this life. And bless them all that they will have the strength to deal with whatever trials they have. And these things we pray humbly in the name of thy Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome, Willem. Okay, guys. It's 11:30 here in Eastern Standard Time. Is it Eastern Standard Time? Oh, it's Daylight Savings Time. So what is it called? Eastern Daylight Savings?
Yeah.
EDS? But it's it's Eastern Standard Time, and there's Mountain Standard Time, and there's Pacific Standard Time. Is there another one? Central Standard Time. Is that right? But what do they call it during the daylight savings? It's not Standard Time anymore, right?
Mountain Daylight Savings Time.
Oh, well, we're in Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Atlantic Standard Time and Newfoundland Standard Time.
Atlantic is Newfoundland is a half an hour off.
Yeah.
So if it's 11:30 here, it's midnight there. Everywhere it's 30.
Well, if one time during the sea, it would be 1 o'clock, I think.
Whatever.
But
they would say it is now such and such a time, and then No, it'll be on at such and such a time. Oh, Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific. Yes. Hi, Tyler. Guess what is it called? Standard time or Daylight Savings Time? I thought it was just EST and CST and PST or MST and anyway, you get the picture. We went to the temple today in Toronto. It was so nice. It was so good. I just loved being there. And I felt such joy. You know, it isn't just happiness and not being bummed out, but real joy that just, you know, you can't stop smiling, but you don't feel like laughing. It's really wonderful. I love going there. Anyway, the prophet told us a few months ago, or maybe it was a couple years ago now, to study angels. And so I was thinking about angels. I really don't know a lot about angels, but I imagine that we each have an angel watching over us. And I was trying to figure out who would be the angel that watches over us. As we are all a family and we all knew one another before, now an angel that comes and watches over us would not be, it was nice for you to invite William to the prayer tonight. Yes, we'll see. It's usually he chooses the person to say a prayer, which is exactly what he did again tonight. He didn't pray. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. So there it was.
There will be some so spiritual in one day.
Oh, I love him so much. He's so awesome. You know, he doesn't put on any airs. He doesn't have a big pride or anything. He's just Willem. He is what he is. He makes up all these words. Like a bookmark, he calls it a page remember paper. What's another one of your words? Well, you have to think about it and then tell me. Tell everybody. He's always coming up with words. Oh, yes, you're always doing that. I can't remember any more of them. But I better remember them because that's a pretty good story. And if I want to repeat that story well into my 90s, then I'm going to need to remember the whole thing and have more to it than just that. You know, there are stories we all tell of things, places we've been, things that we've done. And, you know, Cancun, well, that was the place where I swam with dolphins. And Hawaii, that was where I swam with sea turtles. And Aqaba was where I swam just above, boy, I've had a very charmed life, you know, above sea coral. And Isla de las Mujeres in Mexico is where I swam with, or snorkeled, all these are snorkeling, except the dolphins. I snorkeled with angelfish, giant angelfish. They must have been a foot tall. And in this is fun. In St. John, the island of St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Oh my gosh, what a life! Oh my gosh, I snorkeled over an underwater trail. It was a trail with posts and markers and signposts, and it identified coral and things like that in the ocean. And yeah, that's cool. Anyway, sorry. I was so lucky to be a travel writer. I didn't go to journalism school or anything. I just started writing writing opinion pieces for the paper, and one of them put it as a column, and I got into little tiny papers where I had to do it for free, or they'd pay me $10 or something. And finally, this one big name paper, which I don't think is Entertainment Today. It's entertainmenttoday.net, it's not .com. Anyway, and so I wrote for them, and everybody would just let me come over. They would bring me, would you like to go to India? I never did go to India, but and then Angola was another one. I didn't go there, and Willem wouldn't let me go to Africa. Said it was too dangerous. It's a good thing Mexico wasn't dangerous back then, but people thought Mexico was at that time, but it really wasn't. It wasn't like it is now. There weren't gangs and kidnappings and murders and things like that. It was much different than it is now. But I remember being in Mexico City, and the taxi driver from the hotel, it was a fancy hotel, and he said that you mustn't get the little Volkswagen taxi cabs because they were too dangerous. Anyway, but he was going to charge a fortune, which of course was on the tab of the hotel, but of the press trip people. But I went to the temple, and when I was there, I asked some of the people that were attending the temple, well, I saw them getting into these cars, these same little taxi cab cars, and they felt it was perfectly safe. The biggest problem is that they might charge you more than, I asked ahead of time, how much should I pay? And because you never know what they're going to charge a gringo. Who knows? If they're honest, it's all fine. But anyway, so I think I ended up taking a taxi, one of those car taxis back. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, I wouldn't try it now. I think my travel writing days are over. Sometimes I think about it. Sometimes I think about trying to write again. But it's never something that I do. It's never something that I actually feel like doing. One day I'll read my travel writing articles to you. I think I got into it. Well, I know how I got into it, but I was writing for Outdoor Life magazine. There was this editor, and I got on a list, something about fish and wildlife, and the Department of Fish. It was a U.S. thing, and they would send out these emails saying different things that were just headlines. So one was that there was a taxidermist that was stuffing poached animals. And so I wrote it up and I sent it in, and he accepted it. And then after a few of these, he made me his Eastern Canada or Ontario monthly it was like what you could hunt that month or what you could fish that month, something like that. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. Quota? Mm-hmm. But it was more species. But within it was a quota. So, like if it was fox hunting season, or if it was one I told you this before, one month there was nothing to hunt, and so, but you could always hunt pigeons. So I wrote an article about hunting rock doves, which was pigeons. Where can you find it? You had to tell them where you could find it and what the regulations were for the bag limits, how many you could take, and all this stuff. Of course, I would never do any of that stuff, but if they paid, I think they paid, I don't know if it was $1 a word or 50 cents a word. But he always wanted 100 words. That's the way it always went. I think it might have been 50 cents a word because Better Homes and Gardens paid $1 a word once. I wrote one article for them. It was $1 a word, and I thought that was like over a moon. In fact, it was a 1,000-word article. So that was a lot of money I made from one article. Meanwhile, I was giving my articles away to other newspapers just so I could get my foot in the door. and have a bio, be able to have these clippings that I could present to prospective tourist people. You know, I don't know if they still do press trips out there. They might. If they do, the way you do it is I would look up a list of all the countries' tourism departments, and so you could get a list somewhere of all the countries and the contact information for the person in charge of tourism. And so, like in Florida, that's not a country naturally, but Visit Florida was the place to contact. Anyway, and so I would contact these places and ask if they had upcoming press trips, and or FAM trips, they would call them, which is like a familiarization trip, so that you can be familiar with the area and then write about it. And sometimes they would have, like people that worked in a travel, what is it called, a travel, where you go get your tickets if you want to go somewhere, a travel agent. So sometimes they'd have travel agents that would go on these trips, but press people weren't with it. But so I would write to these different places and ask them if they had any press trips coming up, and often they would, and I'd get on the trip. I think that happened with Switzerland. I don't know. Maybe it was. There was also these offices, the PR, public relations officer groups, companies, and that just did press trips. Like they'd have a whole long list of companies that they were representing. And so I got on with, I forget what their names are now. No idea. But I got on with them, and so they would send out these emails of the upcoming press trip, and so you'd look it over and see if you think you would qualify for that trip. And often they made you pay your own airfare, so I ignored them. I looked for the ones that would bring you from your house to where you were going and back again. And sometimes, of course, you'd have to have an assignment. So they'd say, we're looking for this, or what it includes, and must have an assignment. And so I did approach different editors at times to see if this would work for them. One of them was the Globe and Mail, and I asked him if he would take an article about a butler service, a trip where there was butler service in Houston, and it was about the rodeo. And anyway, I couldn't figure out what the rodeo had in common with butler service and driving a Mercedes, test driving BMWs, and a tour of the rodeo. And I couldn't figure out the connection, but then finally I got the picture that rodeos are not just, bunch of anybody cowboys. These are ranch owners or big rich people that own lots of acreage and lots of animals. You're never supposed to ask a Texan farmer or a rancher, you're never supposed to ask him how many cows he has and how much land he has, because with that you can figure out his income. That was a big no-no, which I learned on that test trip. I don't know how I learned it. I mean, somebody said it. I didn't ask the wrong thing and get reprimanded for once. Anyway, where are we going with this? Anyway, so if you have, oh yes, I needed an assignment. And so I got an assignment ahead of time, and so I could say to them, I have an assignment. And then they brought me. They only brought 7. They had 400 applications, and they brought 7 people. And I was one of them. Can't believe it. That was pretty cool. And then the other one that I told you about also is when I wanted to go to Hawaii, and there was this itinerary for a press trip. And so I sent the itinerary, and I asked the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, John somebody, who was the editor, and I asked him if, I said to him, this is the itinerary, and I could write an article on any of these things that you like if, you know, I can write on, if you would give me an assignment to write on any of these things at, you know, your choice, I can go get a free trip I can get a press trip to Hawaii. And so he said, okay, that was pretty cool. That was quite cool. It was really, the thing that was so neat about it is that I was a mom of 5 kids, and I was run down, overworked, overwhelmed, and probably kind of irritable and depressed most of the time. And so to actually get to go and have, you know, like, no worry about money. I didn't have to worry. It didn't matter if I had no money, and often all I did is take one credit card and I never used it. That's not true. I would buy souvenirs. I would buy a mug from every place I went, which of course added up over the years. I ended up with 200 mugs. They were $4.99 to $10.99. Anyway, a little fortune of mugs I have there. It's a wonderful collection. I should get it and put it all up. I really would like to see it all. And I could do that. You know, I could put hooks all around the top of this room. But it would drive my family crazy. They would think it's too crowded. What's with that? I could have I don't know, I could rotate them, right? I should have a glass case that's only 1 mug thick, 1 mug deep. I should have many big glass cases and put them on the walls. Then I could see all my mugs. See, these are still hanging up. I had them hanging all the way across and down behind the pole. Oh, those still have hooks over there. And then we had another wall there, and there used to be below that, and they went around everything, down around the doorway. And remember all those lovely mugs, Willem?
Yes, you do.
Doesn't it make you miss them, feel nostalgic?
Feel.
Yeah, they do. It was great. Anyway, I have 2 big bins of these mugs. I think that's all I have is 2. Plus a whole bunch in the cupboard, which is useless because I only ever use the very one in the front. Maybe pick out 2 or 3 from the front, but not, you know. But sometimes I think about doing it again. Sometimes I think, this is not data, this is Wi-Fi.
Okay,
I'm using Willem's phone. Because mine, is dead. Hey, you like my box? My cover? Yep, you want to know how much it cost me? Probably.
Okay.
Well, it took a few glue sticks. And I already had a glue gun. I left spaces open. It didn't really work too well here. And sometimes it's a little too close on the edges. So it's hard to push buttons sometimes, you know. I have to pull this out of the way. Anyway, but it protects it. And you know me. I mean, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. And I already had the glue sticks, and I had the glue gun. And I didn't have a proper fitting case. And I didn't feel like spending $20. All these make money schemes, you know? Everybody's got something to sell you to make a lot of money. And, you know, it just sucks up your money. But there it is. That's my Willem.
I mean, it's nice.
What?
Start with it, my little one.
I know, I said that's it. And then
Oh,
I said,
there's
there's my
okay.
ruin.
Okay. You're off the hook.
That's it. It should be, is it. You can't make a contraction out of that. Like, isn't. We're not. We are not can be we're and are not. We'ren't, aren't. We're, aren't.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to go to bed.
All right, bedtime. So I guess that was closing prayer. I love you guys. See you later. Night, night. And remember, you can do this at home. You could be a travel writer if you feel like it. Yep. Ask me more. I'll tell you more if you want. And just remember, what kings and presidents pay for, travel writers get for free. Okay, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.